Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. But behind the historic streets and iconic landmarks lies a darker truth. A history written in blood by some of the most dangerous women ever to walk through Pennsylvania's courtrooms. From colonial-era conspirators to modern-day murderers, these are the faces of evil hiding in plain sight. Welcome to Shattered Crime. Today, we're exposing the full list of Philadelphia's most notorious female killers. These aren't distant legends. These are real women who poisoned, stabbed, suffocated, and destroyed lives. Real victims whose families were shattered forever. From death row inmates to convicted serial killers, these 8 cases span nearly 2 centuries of horror. First case, Melissa Lucio. Death row's most controversial case. Is she a child killer or an innocent woman on death row? February 17, 2007. Cameron County, Texas. 2-year-old Mariah Alvarez was found unresponsive in her home. She was pronounced dead at the hospital. Her mother, Melissa Lucio, was arrested, convicted of capital murder, and sentenced to death. Melissa's life had been defined by tragedy from the start. Her father died when she was an infant. She grew up in the Rio Grande Valley, enduring sexual abuse as a child. By the time of Mariah's death, Melissa was the mother of 14 children, battling cocaine addiction and trapped in abusive relationships. Mariah's autopsy revealed devastating injuries: head trauma, bruised kidneys and lungs, damage to her spinal cord, and a fractured arm that was 2 to 7 weeks old. Prosecutors argued it was systematic abuse. Melissa's defense argued Mariah had fallen down the stairs 2 days earlier. An accident, not murder. What happened next became the heart of the controversy. Melissa was interrogated for 7 hours straight by Texas Ranger Victor Escalon. No lawyer present, no food or water. Exhausted, traumatized, and desperate, she denied harming Mariah over 100 times. But under relentless pressure, she finally said the words that would condemn her. "I guess I did it." Legal experts would later call it a textbook example of a false confession. In 2008, Melissa Lucio was convicted of capital murder and sentenced to death. She became the first Latina woman sentenced to death in Texas, but doubt lingered like a shadow over the case. Independent forensic experts questioned the autopsy findings. Evidence emerged that had been withheld at trial. Then, on April 25, 2022, just 2 days before her scheduled execution, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals granted a stay. The court ordered a review of new evidence. Even prosecutors later agreed her conviction should be overturned. As of 2025, Melissa Lucio remains on death row, awaiting a final decision. Her case was featured in the 2020 documentary The State of Texas vs. Melissa, and on HBO's Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. A juror admitted voting for the death sentence under pressure. Is Melissa Lucio guilty? Or is she a grieving, traumatized mother convicted on a coerced confession? The question remains unanswered. Second case. Marie Noe, the baby killer of Philadelphia. 8 children. 8 deaths. Between 1949 and 1968, Marie Noe gave birth to 10 children in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 8 of them died under her care. For decades, their deaths were attributed to sudden infant death syndrome or natural causes. Marie was born on August 23, 1928, in Philadelphia. At age 5, she contracted scarlet fever, which left her with learning difficulties. She dropped out of school early to work and help care for her family. In 1948, She married Arthur Allen No. They would have 10 children together. The deaths began in 1949 and continued for nearly 2 decades. One by one, Marie's infants died, some just days old, others over a year. The ages ranged from 5 days to 14 months. Each time, doctors declared the cause to be CDS, or natural complications. No one suspected murder. No one investigated. But in 1998, after media reports and a book brought attention to the extraordinary number of deaths, Philadelphia police reopened the case. Investigators discovered something horrifying. Marie had suffocated 4 of her children. She admitted it. She couldn't recall the circumstances of the other 4 deaths, but investigators believed she killed them too. In June 1999, Marie No pleaded guilty to 8 counts of second-degree murder. The court sentenced her to 20 years probation, with the first 5 years under house arrest. She was ordered to undergo psychiatric evaluation. Marie No never spent a single day in prison for killing her children. She lived quietly in Philadelphia until her death on May 5, 2016, at age 87. Her case exposed catastrophic failures in early detection of repeated child deaths and systemic oversight. Books were written about her. Cradle of Death by John Glatt, Engendered Death by Joseph W. But for the 8 innocent babies who died in their mother's arms, there was no justice, no prison sentence, no accountability. Third case, Anne Carson, The Beautiful Conspirator, 15, 845. Show illustration. Anne Carson, 19th century portrait. Text overlay, Anne Baker, Carson Beauty, Brains, and Betrayal. Anne Carson was one of the most fascinating criminal figures in early 19th century Philadelphia. Born Anne Baker around 1785 to a privileged family, she lost her financial stability during her youth. After Captain Carson's death, Anne became an entrepreneur, operating a clothing shop and selling china. She was noted for her beauty, charisma, and intelligence. Anne remarried a man named Richard Smith. In a violent confrontation, Smith shot Anne's abusive ex-husband, Captain John Carson, who later died from his injuries. Anne was accused of involvement, but was acquitted. What happened next was extraordinary. In 1816, Anne Carson orchestrated a plot to kidnap Governor Simon Snyder of Pennsylvania to save her husband from execution. She recruited accomplices and planned the operation with military precision. But the plot failed. Anne's criminal career didn't end there. She was later arrested and sentenced to 7 years in prison for passing counterfeit notes. Behind bars, she faced violence and abuse. In 1822, Anne published The History of the Celebrated Mrs. Anne Carson, detailing her life, criminal exploits, imprisonment, and resilience. A second edition, The Memoirs of the Celebrated and Beautiful Mrs. Anne Carson, was published in 1838. Her memoirs made her a well-known figure in early 19th century Philadelphia print culture, a celebrity criminal before such a concept even existed. Anne Carson died in Walnut Street Prison in 1824 from typhoid fever. She was around 39 years old. Fourth case, Corrine Sykes. The youngest to die, Corrine Sykes. She was 22 years old, illiterate, mentally disabled, and Pennsylvania executed her. Corrine Sykes was born in 1924 in Philadelphia. She had an IQ of 63, giving her the mental age of a 7-year-old child. She was illiterate, prone to hysteria, and physically small and weak. She had been previously incarcerated for theft and used false references and an alias to secure a job as a housemaid in West Oak Lane, Philadelphia, on December 7, 1944, just 3 days after Corrine was hired. Her employer, Frida Wadlinger, was found stabbed to death in her home. The victim had been attacked with a carving knife in a struggle over jewelry, cash, and a sable fur piece. Corrine was arrested the same day. During interrogation, she gave conflicting statements. Eventually, she signed a written confession, despite being unable to read or write. She claimed she may have been coerced into the crime by her boyfriend, James "Jace" Kelly, but records remain unclear. At trial, her court-appointed lawyer argued that Corrine's mental disability and emotional instability should spare her from the death penalty. But the jury convicted her of first-degree murder. Appeals were rejected. On October 14, 1946, Corrine Sykes was executed in the electric chair, known as Old Smoky, at Rockview Prison, Pennsylvania. She was just 22 years old. As was protocol for female executions, only a spot on the back of her head was shaved for the electrode. Corrine Sykes became the first black woman executed in Pennsylvania. Up to 10,000 people attended her viewing, a show of sympathy from Philadelphia's black community. Many believed she was wrongfully convicted. Corrine's case highlights the racial and class injustices of 1940s America. A poor, black, mentally disabled woman with no resources, no education, and no real defense. She was executed by a system that saw her as disposable. Fifth case, Hannah Mary Tabbs, the dismemberer. A mutilated torso, a head and limbs thrown in a river. Hannah Mary Tabbs was born. Hannah Ann Smith in the 1850s in Maryland. She was born into slavery but escaped north and settled in Philadelphia. Known for violent behavior, fraud, and using multiple aliases, she lived on the fringes of society. In 1887, she orchestrated one of the most horrific murders in Philadelphia history. Hannah was involved in an adulterous relationship with a man named Wakefield Gaines. When the relationship soured, she threatened him. Then, on the night of February 16, 1887, she conspired with her accomplice, George Wilson, to kill him. According to their confessions, Gaines visited Hannah's home that night. An argument erupted. George Wilson attacked Gaines with a chair, beating him repeatedly. But the horror didn't end there. While Gaines was still alive, Wilson dismembered him with a butcher's cleaver. The coroner later testified that the victim was conscious during the dismemberment, a fact so gruesome it shocked the city. Hannah and George disposed of the body in pieces. The torso was thrown into an ice pond in Eddington, Pennsylvania, where it was discovered on February 17, 1887. The head and limbs were never recovered, dumped in the Schuylkill River, and lost forever. Investigators Frank Geyer, James Tate, Thomas Crawford, and Peter Miller worked the case. Both Hannah and George confessed, but each blamed the other for the actual dismemberment. The jury convicted Hannah as an accessory to murder and sentenced her to just 2 years in prison. Hannah Mary Tabbs was known in Philadelphia's black community for violence and deception, but she had no prior criminal record. After serving her sentence, she disappeared from history. Wakefield Gaines was murdered, dismembered while still alive, and scattered across Pennsylvania. Hannah Mary Tabbs walked free after 2 years. Sixth case, Miranda and Elytte Barbour, the Craigslist killers, a newlywed couple. A Craigslist ad. a murder for the thrill of it. November 11th, 2013, Sunbury, Pennsylvania. Troy LaFerrara, an adult male, responded to a Craigslist ad offering companionship. He had no idea he was walking into a trap set by Miranda and Elytte Barbour, a married couple who wanted to kill someone together. Miranda Barbour was born on December 14, 1994, in North Pole, Alaska. She claimed to have been abused as a child and alleged involvement in a satanic cult. Elytte Barbour was born on November 11, 1991, in Pennsylvania. The couple married just 3 weeks before the murder. They shared a dark fantasy. They wanted to kill someone together. Miranda arranged to meet Troy through Craigslist, offering a paid sexual encounter for $100. When Troy entered her car, Elytte was hiding under a blanket in the back seat. Miranda gave a signal. Elytte emerged and wrapped a cord around Troy's neck, strangling him. Miranda stabbed him 20 times. Together, they killed him. After the murder, the couple dumped Troy's body in a residential backyard in Sunbury. They cleaned the car with bleach, towels, and cleaning liquids. Then they went out to dinner. When police questioned them, they initially denied involvement. But investigators traced Troy's last phone call to Miranda's number. Both were arrested and charged with first-degree murder. During interrogation, Miranda made a shocking claim. She said she had killed at least 22 other people in satanic, cult-related murders. Investigators could never verify these claims, and most experts believe she fabricated the story for attention. But her public statements about the thrill and desire to kill were chilling. In 2015, both Miranda and Elytte Barbour pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. They were sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Both are currently incarcerated in Pennsylvania state prisons. Miranda's alleged confession to being a serial killer made international headlines, but no evidence was ever found to support her claims. What is certain is this. On November 11, 2013, Miranda and Elytte Barbour lured an innocent man to his death for no reason other than the thrill of killing. They are exactly where they belong. 7th case, Mary Jane Fonder. Murder in the house of God, a church. A pastor's office. 2 gunshots. One woman's jealousy. January 23, 2008. Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church, Springfield Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Rhonda Smith, a 42-year-old church member involved in pastoral support programs, was alone in the church office. Mary Jane Fonder, 65, knew Rhonda would be there. She had planned it. She had purchased a gun, and she was about to commit murder. Mary Jane Fonder was born on July 5, 1942. She had emotional issues stemming from childhood, including early institutionalization for a suicide attempt. She experienced difficulty forming relationships and lived a reclusive life. She was deeply involved in her church community, perhaps too deeply. She became obsessed with Rhonda Smith, a fellow congregant, and jealousy consumed her. .38 caliber revolver. She confronted Rhonda. Then she pulled the trigger. Twice. Both shots hit Rhonda in the head. She was rushed to the hospital but died after being disconnected from life support. Police launched an investigation that quickly pointed to Mary Jane Fonder. Church records showed her erratic behavior. The gun recovered from Lake Nakamixon matched her registered firearm. She was arrested on April 1, 2008. Her trial began on October 21, 2008. The defense argued alternative suspects, including Mary Jane's brother, and suggested possible suicide or jealousy by others. but the evidence was overwhelming. On October 30th, 2008, the jury convicted Mary Jane Fonda of first-degree murder. On December 5th, 2008, she was sentenced to life in prison. Mary Jane Fonda was also previously suspected in the 1993 disappearance of her father, Edward Fonda III, though she was never charged. Her history of obsessive tendencies and erratic behavior painted a picture of a deeply troubled woman capable of extreme violence. Mary Jane Fonda died of cardiac arrest on June 4, 2018, at the State Correctional Institution in Muncie, Pennsylvania. She was 75 years old. She spent the last decade of her life behind bars, condemned for murdering a woman whose only crime was being the object of her jealousy. Rhonda Smith's family will never see justice fully served, but they can take some solace in knowing Mary Jane Fonda died in prison, never tasting freedom again. 8th case, Sarah Jane Whiteling, the wholesale poisoner. 3 family members, 3 insurance policies, 3 arsenic poisonings. Sarah Jane Whiteling was born in 1848. She claimed German origins and married 3 times. By the 1880s, she had settled in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, after fleeing the Chicago fire. Her method was simple: rough on rats, a rat poison containing arsenic. Between March and May of 1888, 3 members of Sarah's family died under suspicious circumstances. On March 30, 1888, her husband, John Whiteling, died suddenly. The cause was recorded as inflammation of the bowels. Less than a month later, on April 24, 1888, Sarah's daughter, Bertha Whiteling, died. The cause was listed as typhoid fever. She was insured for $122. Just over a month after that, on May 26, 1888, Sarah's son, Willie Whiteling, died. The cause was listed as congestion of the bowels. He was insured for $47. Coroner Ashbridge became suspicious. 3 deaths in 3 months, all insured, all sudden. He ordered the bodies exhumed. Professor Lefman conducted toxicology tests and confirmed high levels of arsenic in all 3 bodies. Sarah Jane Whiteling was arrested and placed on suicide watch. Under interrogation, Sarah confessed to poisoning both of her children. She claimed Bertha misbehaved and would become sinful, so she killed her. She said Willie was in the way, so she poisoned him too. She denied directly poisoning her husband, though she admitted purchasing the poison. Her defense argued insanity and sought life imprisonment, but the jury convicted her of first-degree murder for Bertha's death. Pennsylvania law mandated the death sentence. Governor Beaver upheld the conviction. Ironically, while in prison awaiting execution, Sarah inherited a fortune from a deceased relative. It didn't matter. She would never spend a cent. On June 25, 1889, Sarah Jane Whiteling was hanged at Moyamensing Prison in Philadelphia. Witnesses reported she appeared calm. She prayed. She said she believed God would forgive her and that she would join her children in heaven. She was 40 or 41 years old. Her case was a sensation in 19th century Philadelphia. A woman who killed her own children and husband for insurance money. She showed no remorse, no humanity, only cold calculation. She died at the end of a rope, and Philadelphia breathed a little easier knowing she could never poison another soul.